Well, hello, my fellow Barbarians, and sorry to have started late, but I just couldn't keep this joy to myself. This whole week has been such a week full of joy, and today I was just trying to go over what can I share. There's so many things I have to share, but I believe, so I will call this the Alef Beyt Blocks for the school of Adonai's mindset for the end time. All right. Because the end time is, when you come to the mindset of God, because God exists outside of time. His personality and the way He is not affected by time. He continues to be the same because He always exists in an everlasting now. All right, so He continues to always be the same. So when we enter His mindset, there's nothing else at time. The sequence of the seasons that continue, we don't consider them as a time in which we live in wantonness, because it's now we are in it. We are in the one and only. We are in Him, in the mindset that matters, the one that is not affected by time, and now we're here to project it. All right, so it's the end of time in that sense. For the world of people that do not have the original Alef Beyt, time is very essential, because in what they consider to be time, in tomorrow, their future is going to get better. Things are going to, get better, or things are going to improve, or, something is coming that is better than now. So, but once you are in the rush, in the head, in the rush, and then you're established in there and you're ready to project that, there's nothing else better than that. Every day is going to be blessed by your presence, because you're going to bring so much of the understanding of God to it, and so that's what we're talking about. So I'm going to take you to my studio here, the new one I have set up. Just let me take you to this one here. All right, so I have a little here, and I have a little background that I put in there because I'm going to use it as my live Alef Beyt blocks, So that's why I put that in the background. That's the moving city over there. You can see it in motion. But in any case, I'm going to sing this song because I think I know it a little better now. Hey, Rosa. Hey, I know it's kind of late, Rosa, but I wanted to share this with all of you guys because I'm working tomorrow. They gave me some work for tomorrow, and today only gave me 1 hour, but I've been working all day trying to think which way to share this with you, because this message here, I hope it will really encourage your heart as to see how powerful is the Torah and its testimony. All right, so that's why I couldn't wait to. So today is called Shimeni Atzeret. It's the Sabbath after Sukkot, after the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's called the gathering of the assembly. The assembly of the eight. Okay, so call it the assembly of the 8 days, because it's after Sukkot that is celebrated for 7 days. But it's also the assembly of the eight. I like to think of it like when God started the world again with Noah. All right, we're going to be looking into Noah in a little bit, what it means by when the Bible talks about grace in the book of Noah. It says that Noah found grace in the eyes of God, or found favor. So we're going to see the meaning of what grace is in the Old Testament, and how that is differs from all other religions. The Old Testament has it right, and so you realize what I'm talking about in a minute. But I'm sharing this tonight, and I'm happy that some people can show up, and I don't expect anybody to show up because it's really late. But in any case, I thought I couldn't wait, and I wanted to share this with you. Now, I taught you this song on Wednesday, because that was the week of Sukkot, of the Feast of Tabernacles, and that is the songs that are usually sang during that. And I was just learning verse 118:25. It says, "Save now, I beseech thee, O Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee, save now, prosperity, profitability, to make your name great over all the earth." Now the verse, it says, "Save now, I beseech thee, O Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee, send now prosperity." And it stops there. But because we're living in an age where everybody thinks that the word prosperity has to do with just getting money, right, and getting the things out of this world, when really, to make it clear what prosperity I'm referring to, I added that last line. The last line. I'm referring to the profitability, to make your name great over all the earth. In other words, I'm asking for the prosperity of a lot of understanding, a lot of wisdom to be given to me, and to be given to all of us, so that we can project who He is and we can understand Him better than anybody else. And guess what? Right about the very next day, my level of understanding started to increase and increase, and now it's way up here. So I just couldn't hold myself. I had to share this joy with you. And so I'm going to sing that starting with the verse 118, verse 25 at the end. Okay, so it says, Save none, I beseech thee, O Lord, I beseech thee, save none, save none, I beseech thee, O Lord, I beseech thee, save none, prosperity, profitability, to make your name great over all the earth. Alright, now I got it. Save I beseech thee, O Lord. O Lord, I beseech thee, send none, prosperity, profitability, to make your name great over all the earth, great over all the earth, great over all. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for His good. From the top. Because His mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for His good. Because His mercy endureth forever. made that song on Wednesday, 1 hour before I started the teaching, and I sang it today, and I could barely have it come out because I was barely remembering the changing of the chords. But now I practiced it today, and it came out good. Everything came out good. But that was answered, by the way. You know, that God gave me so much understanding, and I think hopefully you're going to get it right now as I share this with you tonight. You know, those of you that are awake, otherwise you'll see it tomorrow morning because it's already going live right now. But in any case, so that's the whole idea here. So I'm going to go to the next screen, and you can see the background. You can see cars are moving. You can see parking lots. There's a crane, back there. You can see the crane out there in the corner. And so the horizon. So this is going to be something I want to explain, but I'm going to go to the next scene here. I'm going to give you a little share of my walk that I did earlier today in the afternoon. I went for a little walk to explain what's going on and what the Sabbath and the meaning of this Sabbath that we're having right now. Like I said, Shimeni Atzeret, it means the assembly of the eight. So I like to think, it's the eighth day. But today we're going to understand what it means by the Feast of Tabernacles. Because the whole world celebrates that without knowing, because they don't know the Hebrew language. But we are understanding it because it's pictorial. So we're understanding how that works. All right, so I'm going to stay quiet now. You're going to listen as I share my walk and my meditation. It's about 6.5 minutes. So let me put that in here, and then I'll come back. As soon as that goes in, you'll see me. I want to be behind that movie there. I'm going to put it here. Hello, my fellow Tabernacles, and I'm just going for a quick walk. Well, it's going to be about an hour walk, but it's not charged that much, so maybe I'll just start about 15 minutes. All right, but I am talking about, because this is the week of Sukkot, the Festival of Tabernacles. And the interesting thing that I find out is, for the last 2 days, yesterday and today, pretty much great understanding came over me as I've been studying the Alef Beyt, because the thing is that with the Alef Beyt, what we have in there, because it's a pictorial, alphabet, the original one, and is interested in the function of things, because you got to understand that as a creator is interested in how things function, because everybody that is going to create something, the main concern is it going to work? And they check to it that it works. It works, then it's good. If it's good and it does what it's supposed to do, then it's stand a chance of having a good a good product. And so that is going to give them recognition, because it's going to bring some real good comfort to mankind. Let me put the glasses on now, so I get off the alley here. All right, keep talking. So, because that's the function. So the thing is, all creative people, that create products and services, that's the first thing they do. After they've written the blueprint and they've written everything down about what the product's supposed to do, then they make sure that it functions accordingly, right? And so the whole thing of people that are like engineers, architects, and everything, when they write something, the measurements, they can communicate across all languages, because as long as they function, everybody from any country can pick it up, and learn how to work with those things. Let me go across. And cancel that. So that is the whole idea, is to have a language that addresses the functionality of all things. So that's how you have to interpret the Hebrew pictorial language that I'm giving you here. You can see in the background there, as I'm going to be sharing right now. Today is October 10. It's called the Shimeni Atzeret Sabbath, Shimeni, Atzeret, and also the Simcha Torah Shabbat. Simcha Torah means the rejoicing in the Torah, and Shimeni Atzeret, which says the day after Sukkot, the 8th day, and they celebrate, it's called the assembly of the 8. Some say it refers to the 8th day, but it just means the assembly of the 8. I like to think of it as the assembly of, when it started with Noah again. Everything started with Noah. There were 8 of them, and all the other people. So after having gone to the Festival of Tabernacles, which is a holiday that is encouraged for all humanity, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, the conclusion of this whole thing, and then we're going to understand more about the Alef Beyt and what control it has, and what these economies of the whole world represent. And this is going to be good. I'm going to be sharing that right now as I come back from my walk. But this is the whole thing right now that I find fascinating, is that, because the Alef Beyt is a pictorial language, you will discover that it makes sense to be able to reveal the way the world is set up, and how the people, without realizing, if they do not have the alphabet and the understanding that the alphabet gives them of the Father, interestingly, what they do in the world is all the economies of the world, they present a picture. Literally, you'll get to see as I explain it, because you're gonna see all the stuff that I'm using on the screen. But this is the amazing thing, that if you do not have the Father within, you're gonna create a picture of it using the pictorial language, of the Hebrew alphabet, outside of in your external environment of your flesh. So you'll understand what I'm trying to say in a minute, but I'll explain to you all the different ways in which people, in this world, that do not know God from within, that do not know the Alef Beyt. Alef Beyt means Father, remember that. So if they don't have the character of the Father within, they create a shell of something that looks like a father, like a parent outside, like emulate the Alef Beyt and different. And they want to be surrounded with as many forms and shapes of this Alef Beyt. And I'll explain it to you. That's going to be really fun, because it's going to give you a great perspective, and going to put you on top of everything else too. Okay, so let me just stop right here, because I don't know how much battery I have. But that was just an introduction as I do my walk right now. So I got about 50 more minutes to go now. Let's see. All right, making sure that the mic is on there. All right. So as you can see, a little sharing there with you guys. So here I am right now. I'm sharing now this portion of the Alef Beyt Blocks for the School of Adonai mindset for the end time. All right. What I'm referring to, you see all the little blocks in there. How when you were little kids, remember this? Just this 2 months ago on August, the last 2 weeks of August, for the last 22 days of August, I did this fast, and I explained each of the letters. And remember that let me make sure that you're hearing me here. In the Hebrew alphabet, these all pictures, because God is concerned with the function, because God is a creator, and everybody that makes something, they want to make sure that the product works, that it functions, that it's operational. Because if it's not working, if it's not functional, if it's not operational, then you're out of business. You don't have anything to offer the world, because every product that you have to bring has to be function and deliver the promises of what it's supposed to do. Okay, so everything that has to do with creators, they deal with with diagrams, they deal with blueprints, they deal with schematics, with source codes. They look at the specifications. They follow all the necessary things because they're concerned. They want to make sure that the product and service works. So they do all the necessary calculation. Once it's operational and running the way it's supposed to, then they hire the people. They hire the people that come and work there. All right. So basically, what you need to understand, therefore, is that the Alef Beyt. Remember, Alef Beyt is the head of the ox, and the house floor plan or diagram that represents the bed, the house, and that together is a strong house. Okay. A tabernacle is also a picture of a house. Okay, and everything has to do with a house that keeps you and sustains you, something that has supplies and comforts for you, for your daily living. That's a picture of a father, because, in our daily lives, we don't really have good definition of what father is, because we have a lot of deadbeat parents, deadbeat fathers, that is, that just put the semen and put their seed in the woman gives birth, and they abandon her. So we don't have good examples of what the picture of a father should be. But in the Alef Beyt, the scripture is a father is the one that provides a strong house, a house that is full of supplies and is full of comforts for the family. So the family have provisions, protection, and production from the father. It has all of that. The father is able to provide that. So when it says Ab, it means father, but also represents what the function of a father is to be a constant provider of supplies and comforts, right? So he's supposed to offer that environment, okay? So anywhere where you see a compartment, any type of compartment, all right, that provides supplies for your care and provides comfort, and I wrote it here. Let me so I can put here, because this is, we are celebrating this weekend the Simcha Torah, the Sabbath of rejoicing in the Torah. And man, I'm really rejoicing about everything now, because when do you get a load of what I'm understanding? So here, this is what I wrote down here. So we were made, all right, understand this. We were made to become one with the mindset of the ones that have a tub, Alef Beyt. Tub is good or functional in Hebrew. And Alef Beyt as alpha is A and B, right? The alphabet. So we were made to become one with the mindset of the ones, all the people that are CEOs, their own companies, that have a tub Alef Beyt. I mean, that is a functional or working alphabet. And so here the pictorial alphabet of the Hebrew is universal, okay? Because since it's in function, it's all about functional things. That way you can go across the board. And all nations do the same thing when it comes to the Alef Beyt. You'll understand in a minute. So AB equals father. Alef Beyt means father, and father is functioning. So it's the Alef Beyt, therefore, is a picture of any compartment, either for any place that you can be enclosed in, and supplies can be given to you, and comforts can be provided, and you can get attention. And people can brag about you because your parents brag about you. They give you all the attention. They provide comforts. They provide supplies. So when we think about it that way, okay, so then that's when we go to what I'm going to take you back to this one. That's when we go to while we were here, and I'm going to take this little hymn that I had here. I'm going to put it all the way in the back, so you will see all my background here, because I want to put this all the way back there. All right, let me see. Feast of Tabernacles, all the way back. Here we go. So you see it disappear. Now, when we look at the background, right? That's why I chose this background to use as an example. So that's a scenario of a whole city, in the horizon, and then you see highways, you see cars, you see buildings under construction. But when we understand that the Alef Beyt is pictorial, right? And then the alphabet just means a house or a strong compartment that provides your needs, okay? So therefore, the whole idea of God giving us that is so that we will be the place, we will be the tabernacle. Inside of us, He is going to dwell. because we have acquired the way of thinking, so now he can flow out of us. So we become his house, we become the temple, we become that Alef Beyt, we become also the strong house in which he resides. So the Torah is like a house that contains all the knowledge. We acquire that, and then the mindset of God can flow out of us. So we are also, that a compartment, that can take in our souls and in our bodies, can take in all the understanding, and then we can project his care and comfort into this world. And therefore, that's how we witness the Father coming out of us. That's the ultimate purpose for our creation, because we were made to be the habitation, the proper habitation for God to dwell in. You understand? Us, you and I. And so the thing is, not having that in us and understanding that we are here to project that from us. Therefore, what do the world do? They create pictures of that. Everything that you see out there in the background, that is a compartment that supplies comfort and supplies the things that you need and makes you look good and makes you get attention. That's the whole picture of the Alef Beyt. So people have different ways. They want an Alef Beyt, they want a tabernacle, they want a house where they live in, because that's a picture of where you can get comfort and supply. So that's what I call, that's an Alef Beyt block. Okay, so like in kindergarten you get little blocks. I see like little blocks are like a cube, a little compartment, right? So that's why I chose the blocks. And I thought, oh, it's perfect, because when you go to school, you use the little blocks to teach children, to put letters together and put them together. But that's exactly what we do when we don't have God in the Spirit inside of us. We go and create an external world of compartments. Because the more compartments that we have, the more we can show, that we have great care of the Father. So people want the picture of the Father, of the Alef Beyt, of the strong house. They want it in their own houses, they call real estate. They also want that picture in the car. They want the Alef Beyt that can take them on the road. That's a car. That's a compartment that supplies comfort and supplies. That's a car. They also want the Alef Beyt that can fly. They want a strong compartment that can take them up in the that's the planes, when people take the planes, right? And also they want a compartment that can take them on the water, ships, cruises, all of that, all the comforts and supplies. So they want the Alef Beyt that will do so many things for them. Because, not understanding that we're here to just project it from us to the care of all our fellow men, starting with our own progenitors, our own children, and then to the rest of humanity. Not understanding that that's in and of itself, and that is a character of God coming out of us. They don't have that knowledge. So they are outside looking at the comfort that's going to come to the flesh and building compartments that supply comfort, that gives them supplies and comfort. And all of that is nothing but the picture of the Alef Beyt. So everybody creates compartments. First of all, to make any kind of business, you have to create a compartment of where to run the business, right? The building where you set up your whole enterprise, your whole company. You put the name of the company, Sears, Roebuck, whatever, Walmart. And then you package everything. You build the ceiling, that's the sky. You build the ground, that's the earth. So you build a heaven and an earth, in the form of a strong tower. So the Alef Beyt is constructed to create other compartments. So you create a car factory. It's a big Alef Beyt. And then you create a little car, small miniature of the Alef Beyt. All the compartments, you understand? And that's across the board. So cars are used all over the nations. One brand that caters, that from Japan can be used anywhere, in the world, in Germany, in Russia. So the cars, doesn't matter. The cars are the compartment that supply their needs and comforts, So everybody wants to surround themselves with a picture of the Alef Beyt. I don't know if you're understanding my meaning, but this is the great thing that I wanted to make you understand, that the world has no choice but to build compartments, strong compartments that supply them care and need, that gives them, supplies and comfort. And therefore, that's why the whole thing comes in of getting the right brand, the product that lasts longer, that does not give you any trouble, but only gives you comfort. The car that just keeps on going and going no matter how bad you treat it. That's the best car, because, it doesn't make me do so much for it. It does everything for me. So you boast about. And also when you have a good brand, people give you attention and people brag about, oh, look at you, you're driving a Rolls Royce, you're driving all of this. So you get all the stuff that a father is supposed to give you the attention, the people can brag about you. Everything that a parent do for a child, that's what you get the world to give it to you. Depends on the brand of the product. So you gather all these compartments because you got to get all this Alef Beyt, all these pictures of the Alef Beyt to feel that you are being loved, to feel that you're being taken care of. Because that's what happens when there's a void of the Father in us flowing out of us. If He's not flowing out of us, we're empty of it. So you have to create a picture of things outside. That's why all the industries, all the economies of the world, first of all, to create every product, they have to follow their own alphabets, right? Their own alphabets on all the letters, saying the specifications and details, how everything is assembled, how everything is put together, how everything is supposed to connect with this and that. And so they do everything that has to go going through the Alef Beyt. Because remember, the Alef Beyt talking about connections. It talks about cultivating the ground, breaking the ground, the Zion, the plow. All this, the pictures. There's the basket for distribution. Then the product has to be distributed. So what does that happen? So everything in the external world, the way I see it right now, I feel like I'm on top of the world. That's why I put myself here on top of everything and looking down. It says I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, Like that song that this lady sings. But that's exactly what the Torah has given me to me, my mindset to understand that all nations have to play with the alphabet blocks. So all the little compartments from cars, people even want, if you have a lot of money, you can have a little compartment that takes you underwater. You can buy a submarine and brag to people, hey, I have a father, I have an Alef Beyt that takes me underwater. How about you? Does your Alef Beyt, does your little Alef Beyt, father takes you underwater? You're not getting that care. Oh, man, poor you. And so that's how envy develops, because people want to have all the care of all the Alef Beyt they can get in this external world, right? Because that's everybody competes to get. So, you understand? It gives me a different perspective in looking at the world, because the world doesn't have the Alef Beyt flowing out of it. They have no knowledge of that. Okay, so the only thing they have, therefore, they only have this external world. That's the only reality. So they have to create the pictures. So the interesting thing is that everything has to be like in the Hebrew, pictorial, because it has to function. So that's the whole thing that I'm trying to convey. That's why I thought I'll bring you to this knowledge and understanding that everything you see out there, first of all, is made by the order of alphabet. The alphabet is utilized to make the words and put the different orders and sequences. And then the Alef Beyt means that there's just going to be some strong compartment. So everybody's pretty much a strong compartment that gives you supplies for some comfort or something you need. Like even TVs, even as flat as they are, but they used to be square TVs. They used to be square, and then they supply you all the viewing pleasure, right? And depending on how big your TV was, and even now, depends on how big your TV is you get great notoriety. People admire you if you got 75 or 85 inch flat screen TV, plasma, whatever, whatever the definitions are right now. And this time, and even so now everything has shrunk. There used to be a time when they made the first computer that used to be like 10 floors up, like IBM, and now you can hold a computer that does more than the first computer that was 10 stories high. Took a whole building, to put that computer in there, and that you can hold it in the palm of your hand. So even in your palm of your hand, you have a little Alef Beyt that supplies all your comfort and needs. A little compartment like it's all flat now, because it used to be more square. Remember, the old ones is the whole, but now it's more flattened, but still like a rectangle, But there's a little Alef Beyt that supplies your needs and supplies your comfort, because it puts you in contact with all your dear ones and all the people that admire you. All the stuff that you do on Facebook and everything that you do in the cloud technology. So it's the whole thing. That's what I'm looking at. The whole thing is nothing but an expression, you see, of the Alef Beyt being extracted out of our environment, because we lack of this world doesn't have the real one within. But you can gather all the Alef Beyts, all the compartments, all the tight, strong compartments that give you comfort and supply your need. You can gather as many as you want to, but none of them teaches you to have the Alef Beyt, the Father, flowing out of you. That's what the oldest block, these blocks lack, because there's nobody teaching them. So hear what? I am the teacher for the hour, because the understanding has been downloaded into me. So I'm the one that's going to use these blocks. I'm going to put it in order to bring people back to understanding that there's only two things. If the real Alef Beyt is not assigning you for the economy of revealing the character of the Father, then you have no other option but to go work and make Alef Beyt blocks in this economy of the external world for the for the comfort of your external skin, because only what happens to your skin and external pleasure is the only thing that you know how to measure. Okay, and when you're in that situation, then you're gonna be making the block, and I'm gonna be using all that you do to explain to the world what my Father is, what my Alef Beyt is, the real one, because that's the real reason for which we're created. Okay, now the thing that you need to understand is, so the only reason why people that are CEOs and bosses and people that create things hire you is for the sake of you taking care of the manual, of the idea and product. It's not for you just to work in there. So that's why you do everything repeatedly. Every day, the same routine. The same routine every day. 8 hours doing the same thing that you did yesterday. Why you have to do everything repeatedly is so that you won't forget the manual. The word that tells you how it's done will remain intact and will remain whole, and wholesome and healthy. It will not deteriorate because you will always remember. That's why everything is repetitively done over and over again, so that the manual. Because why the owners and all the CEOs, they know that without that word instructing their employees, they have no product, they have no service, nothing will run. Everything will crumble. There will be no economy. And even though this is in the Alef Beyt simulation, like I've been calling, or I used to call it a retarded garden, all of that stuff, because it's all run by manpower, right? Nothing is self-replicating, it's not like the plants or the insects like that. Okay, so we live in this kind of situation right now. So that tells you that it's very important to follow the Torah that these people give. And by Torah, from your employees in this simulated garden, I call it the training, orderly, regulating all hirelings, all the people that are hired to work, TORAH. Training, orderly, regulating, or controlling all hirelings. So everybody that is hired to work for a company, they give you a manual. And that becomes your little Torah to follow there for whatever, to making cars, for making vacuum cleaners, for making computers, whatever it is that you do, or for serving this kind of meal. You work in a restaurant, follow the recipes, but everything is done, following this thing repeatedly with the same orders and everything, so you will never forget. And the word remains intact that way. Okay, that's why the Torah could never be eliminated. Because the Torah gives you all 613 mitzvot, which is not only how to take care of ourselves, but how to take care of my neighbor, how to take care of my family, how to take care of my fellow man, how to take care of the field, how to take care of the cattle, how to take care of the animals, so that you're taking care of everything. Everything is so that you will be careful in how you take care of your environment and everything that surrounds you, because that's how God gets to display that He is the Father of all creation. Okay, so you carefully follow those mitzvahs, and that's why all these holidays are set up. And I'm understanding that's why I'm following the holidays, because it's easy to get into the mindset of the Father. I'm following track of all holidays, and they're making so much sense. It's just one holiday after another, just to remind us to appreciate, and to grow in the love of the Father, to grow in the concern of a Father of all things that He has made. So that's why it's a very good book to make you an altruistic human being. That's why I call it the Torah that God gave us. I call it the teachings, orderly rendering, or producing, orderly rendering, altruistic. That's a person that does not live for himself, because he's so complete in the Maker and also complete in the Word. That means say, complete me now. I plead thee, O Lord. O Lord, send now prosperity, this is profitability, for your name to be great over all the earth. And it's been made clear to me, because after this I'm going to be using all these examples from now on to explain to people that anybody that says that the Torah needs to be discarded, like any religion, even Christianity, that says the Torah is the old and we are with the new, the Torah was never said that it's going to be done away with. And anybody that wanted to do that, what are you doing is you are preventing the mindset of the Father to flow from people. You need to memorize this whole thing from beginning to end, back and forth, because then the Father just flows out of you. That's got to be your only heritage, because the whole purpose for being here is to be one with His mindset and one with the word that He speaks, because that word becomes your life. That word becomes your everything. Just when you go work for a company, if you recognize that manual is giving you the job, following the directions, that's why you get paid. That's why you get to have your different Alef Beyts from your car, from your house, from your vacation home, all the little things that you get, because you work in the big Alef Beyt of your boss, taking care of his word for his product and service, and then you have all the little Alef Beyts that you're going to need for yourself. But everything is a father is acting in the role of a father to provide for you. So it's amazing to me because everything is just, I can just see it everywhere now. Everywhere I just see the alphabet, the pictorial alphabet. I understand where it works because it's all the function of a wholesome word, okay? And so that's why it's so important that the Torah cannot be discarded. It has to be elevated above everything else because even if you work for a company, let's say you work for a company that makes computers, they have a manual to follow. At no moment can people just say, well, I don't have to follow the manual anymore. People just told me that I can go with any idea I want to, No. The manual, you follow the manual or you're fired. You're not part of it because the idea of how to take care of mankind to that product in a certain way will not be communicated if you do not follow the word. The same with the Torah. The mindset of God will be hindered, will be stopped from flowing out of our hearts, our minds, and everything, because we're supposed to put 100% of our hearts. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God. That's talking about the Torah. The Torah, that's the inheritance of the Levites. It says everybody got land, got cattle, and everything, but the Levites and the priests, they only got the Lord. The Lord is thine inheritance. What does that mean? They got the Torah. They have the Torah. The Torah is the Lord, the guidelines that they need to follow so the mind of God will flow from them. And they were to teach the people. They didn't have a place to stay. They had to go to different regions and be teaching their Torah to everybody that lived there. So that was the whole idea. So the Lord is not something you make up in your mind or you think that he's over there. No, he's revealing himself. And the Torah is very specifically how to take care of everything. This whole creation, your environment, yourself, and everything else. Because that's all that the Father inherits. The Father of all creation, or the Father of any company, just inherits the pattern, the words. He holds it dear, he calls it his own, and also the activity to make it function. That's it. So you want to come into understanding the Father of heaven, that's what you inherit. You're going to inherit his words, his mindset, and be functioning to deliver a presentation of who he is. And any religion that tells you otherwise, that the Torah is not needed because it's something, no. That's heresy. That is not in line with the Torah. Was never supposed to be discarded. It's that and the pictorial alphabet that explains everything and it lays it out plain for everybody to see. Okay, so now let me explain to you more to this part here, because I wanna.
Hello, my fellow Tabernacles.
Okay.
And
This part again.
just going for a quick walk. Well, it's going to be about an hour walk, but my
This one right now.
it's not charged that much, so maybe I'll just talk about 15 minutes. All right. But I am talking about, because this is the week of Sukkot, the Festival of Tabernacles. And the interesting thing that I find out is, for the last 2 days, yesterday and today, pretty much great understanding came over me as I've been studying the Alef Beyt, because the thing is that with the Alef Beyt, what we have in there, because it's a pictorial, alphabet, the original one, and is interested in the function of things, because you got to understand that as a creator is interested in how things function, because everybody that is going to create something, the main concern is it going to work? And they check to it that it works.
Right? I think it's gone. Yeah, good. All right, I took it out. So I'm only one talking now. Good. Okay. I think I'm gone now. Okay. All right. So here it is. So that's why I'm saying that, now what I've inherited the whole world. And I look at this now as an Alef Beyt Blocks, which I'm going to be using to teach the Torah now. Because everything that works out there is nothing a picture of the alphabet in the pictorial Torah, in the pictorial Hebrew. So I can just use the whole world as a PowerPoint presentation, which I find that magnificent. Okay, so now let me remove this, and I'm going to take you to the sword. Yeah, here we go. Sword Bible. All right, media source. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let me take this back. All the way. Yeah, we go. All right. So now let me put here on the sword of the Lord. All right. Okay, we're gonna look here right now on what I call here is Genesis 6:8. Okay, but Noah says found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, so remember this is the time when God saw that the people's wickedness had gone really bad. It says verse 6, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and he grieved him at his heart. And therefore said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. This, for it repented me that I have made them. Now it says, but Noah. Okay. Now look at how Noah is spelled out here. I mean, in the Hebrew, it's the letter noon for the letter N is the noon, which is the picture for a seed or a fish, or new generation. We talked about new generation or continuity of something, and then it ends with a het. Het is the letter for wall. Wall is for defense, for something well protected, something secure, safely guarded. So the name of Noah means the seed or the continuity safely guarded. So his main name means that he was keeping himself the continuity of who God is, because he has value. Because your name is valuable if you use it for the propagation and the promulgation and promotion of God. So his name is the continuity, the seed, or the seed, because the seed is the continuity. The seed is being protected, being safely guarded. So he was guarding everything. That means he kept for himself the Torah. He had all the teachings, even though there was no Torah, but he had gathered all the teachings that he had received from Adam and everything, from everything that God has instructed them, and he had kept them and he had guarded them in his heart. And so when it says, but Noah, that means the seed protector, but Noah found, says he had, in other words, found grace. And that word found is just, I'll show you, it's matzah, which means to come forth, that is to appear or exist. That means Noah had. So he had in him, grace. And what is grace? I want you to understand this, because grace, here is the opposite in Noah, and then it starts with noon and it ends with het. And grace, it starts with het and it ends with noon, because it's just the backward. So the backwards word for Noah is the word grace. Think of that. But what the word grace means, start with het, it just means the secure continuity. Okay, so Noah was the seed that was being protected. So what it says, he found grace. So God found in him grace. He found that he had the protection, of the continuity So in other words, I want you to understand that grace wasn't something that God was giving him. Okay, because this is the whole idea with Christianity and all other religions that think about grace. They think that grace is something that God gives you. No. Grace is something precious that you have because you have been keeping the Torah. You have been working on staying with the mindset of God, and Noah had that. He was the only one that was perfect. Yes, he was perfect. They say that he was complete. He was complete because he wasn't looking for anything out of his environment. He was completing who God was. And therefore, what does that tell you? That he was keeping the words of God. And that's what God... So Noah, being that the name was the seed's protector, he was a protector of the knowledge he had received, and he was happy to have that. Then God found and discovered that he had the protection of the seed in him. So that word grace here is just saying that God discovered that he had what Noah said he was. Noah said he was the seed's protector, and God saw that he was the protector of the seed. That's what it says. So God found or saw that it existed in him that. So that's, if you don't have the Torah to guide you, okay, God is not, God looks on you, and if you are not satisfied in it, he doesn't find. The way that says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That means the eyes of the Lord were looking at him, and the eyes of the Lord found grace that there was in Noah. So it's not like God was giving him grace. That's the whole idea, because that's the whole confusion, with the Christianity. It's not that grace is something that's given to you. It's because you study the Word of God, and you keep it, and you make it your life, and it's your everything, because you're in the mindset of your Maker. Then God finds that you are protecting him, and that's, God discovers something beautiful. And the word in Hebrew just means something beautiful, something precious. Okay, let me see. So I'll put your head. Yeah, this says it's chen. I got chen. That's grace. Okay, with the letters opposite of Noah. The same letters, but in the opposite direction. And it means graciousness, kindness, favor, beauty, grace, pleasant, precious. So you see, he found something precious in him because he was keeping his word. So it's something favorable, because he could relate to that. In other words, he was in love with his mindset. Noah was in love with the mindset of God. So he saw that was so gracious, so beautiful. That's what he found. But he had that in him. It's not like God was giving him a grace. That's the whole thing that I want you to understand. When you get to the Hebrew, you understand that keeping the Torah in of itself, being happy to know that that is your heritage, because that connects you directly with your Maker. Oh man, God thinks that there's nothing more beautiful in this world than to see you there, than to see you in that mindset. Okay? Because you are preserving him. You think that there's nothing better in the world than him. So who's not gonna love that? Who's not gonna think, it's gonna be in favor. Anybody that, if you've written poems and you're a writer, and then you find somebody that has memorized all your poems, that person is your favorite fan. You're not gonna do anything to offend. That's a gracious, beautiful person that you have found, because he loves your works. That's exactly what the situation. He found that God admired the way that he was keeping everything that he had learned about the mindset of God, because the name means that he, the seeds protector, or the seeds, the one that keeps the seeds self-guarded and safe. So he found that, and that's when the word grace was started to be used in the Bible. And that was something beautiful, and it started to be like that. Anybody that has that thinks that the Torah is it. There's nothing better than that. The completion there. Hey, God finds, the eyes of the Lord, see something beautiful there. God sees something, excellent, man. Then he begins to brag about you, even though in the days of Job, hardly were anybody that would just be satisfied with God. So when Satan appeared before God began to brag about Job. Hey, have you consider my servant Job? What was he? Job had found grace in the eyes of Hashem, in the eyes of Jehovah. He have found grace, and he was just bragging about him. Okay, that's what it is. So when you are so enamored with the word, when you want to be in it all the time, oh man, God is just enamored with you too. Because if you're enamored with him, he's also in love with you. That's what it means. Okay? So this whole idea, I don't know with this grace came that you can do something and I can get away with it. That had nothing to do with the character of the Almighty Father. So how can God find grace and think that is something beautiful to find in you? See, remember that the eyes of the Lord run to and fro all over the earth, looking to see those whose heart is perfect toward him. He's looking to see who is complete with his word, with his Torah, and his mindset. And for those people, he bent backwards to try to please them and to do everything according to the mind, because they're not thinking of things how to take advantage of this world. They're thinking of things how to better the world and to make things easier for the fellow man. And God is working behind them, rooting for them. That's what grace means. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're so get your eyes back into the original Torah, and don't let any religion or any other thing deviate you from that, because that's what real grace is. And that's what I'm telling you from the letters in there, and that's exactly what it is. Okay, so you got to get your mind in it, and stay there, okay? And so that's what I wanted to say in that regard. Let me hide this one here. Let me just put the background here. I'm gonna finish. Yeah, let me get the sword out of the way. Sword Bible, yeah. Get this down. All right. Let me see. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, I think I'm by the highway. All right, I don't want to take it out completely, but all right. Okay, let me take this out of the way. Okay, and okay. Oh, I'm still here. Let me take this guy out too. All right, let me take this picture out of the way so I can finish talking to you guys. All right, so here we go. So as I say, I'm gonna end up right now, but I thought I'd share this with you. I know it's kind of late, but I wanted to share with you that great things are coming, my friends, because I know exactly how to look up on the world right now. And it's wonderful, because that means I'm going to be using everything. I'm going to explain to you the Hebrew alphabet. How it's going to really be displayed all over the place, because everything is things that are functioning. So everything has to be compartmentalized. So everything begins with an Alef Beyt, with a strong compartment, okay, that supplies your comforts and needs, okay? So that's the picture of the Alef Beyt, all right? So that's the Feast of the Tabernacle. So you will find out that the world that are lost, they want to feast on all kinds of tabernacles to use and abuse, From their phone is a little picture of a tabernacle that contains a little box, a little compartment that supplies, their needs and comforts. So everything that acts in that capacity, represents the Alef Beyt. You understand? So then you can see that it's a universal language. That's the beautiful thing about the Hebrew language, because that is based upon things functioning. So therefore, you are able to do this, And so I just thank heaven that these things are coming clear to me. And so I think just the mother lode of understanding, of seeing everything from his perspective, is clearly established in me. So I had 8th graders in year 1999 to 2000. In that year, I had 8th graders that gave me a plaque that says "Teacher of the Millennium," and they presented it to me. But I think I am ready to be the teacher of the millennium now with this understanding, because this understanding is only possible in this day and age, with having the cloud technology and having everything, because I'm able to do all of this right now. For example, I'm in the comfort of my bed right now. This whole studio is fake. All cities in the back is fake. Everything is just something that I'm putting in the background. Everything I know how to work with backgrounds and all of this stuff right now, But it's a good tool, okay, for teaching. It's a good teaching tool. This is the best teaching tool ever. I can teach the whole world from my home, from the comfort of my own home, from my own bedroom. I'm teaching right now. And I can reach everybody through the cloud technology. So this to me is fascinating. It's something that David didn't have this. I'm David now. I'm the David for this time, but the David that from everything started, I am the seed of David, in the sense that I think the same way. The word seed, that's another story. I wanted to teach you what the word seed means. It's just fantastic. And I know I am of the seed of David. And my name has to be David, so so I'm just doing wonderful. So I just thought I'd give you this, because that way you'll rejoice, because this is the week when we celebrate Simcha, which means joy, rejoicing of the Torah. We have a reason to celebrate, because in it we have the means by which we can connect directly with the mindset of God, and we can project Him upon the face of the earth. All the heathen, all the goyim, all the other nations, they have the pictures of it outside, but do not know how to read them, because they do not know the Hebrew. But I'm going to do the connectedness now. I'm going to do the bonding so they can bond with the Father's heart. All right? And this is so easily given to me now, So that song that I sang was actually answered the very next day. I began to get this understanding. And to put everything together and put it all into perspective, okay? So I just couldn't wait any longer to share it to you. So that's it. So I appreciate your attention here. Let me see how we're doing with the people online. All right. So I hope some of you are able to get some of this tomorrow, and take it in, and enjoy what God is providing for your care. All right. So I'm just gonna go with a little commercial here. Let me see. Okay. Let me see what we can use. Story Monarch. Yeah, I'm gonna